it just seems like insanity to me. We're working for a dollar that's losing value. Inflation is skyrocketing. It's going to keep going. Trump's looking like he wants to pass out $1,000, $2,000 tariff rebates. That just sounds like COVID all over again to me. Everything that's going on now, it stems from COVID 2020, right? We printed so much money during that time frame. The national debt ceiling at the end of the fiscal year in 2020 was like,
all right, welcome to the Bitcoin broadcast. Today we have on Anthony Luna, aka MoonMan on X. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Vance. How you doing, man? Good morning.
Good morning. It's good, man. It's a good day. How long have you been in Bitcoin?
I've been in Bitcoin probably about, I would say, a good solid 3 years now. But there were some things that led me to Bitcoin. Like it was some kind of pivotal or like kind of things that stuck with me. Is one of the things was in 2019. So I did loans, home loans. So I did mortgages, real estate for like 10 years. And so when I was doing loans in like 2019, rates are low. And I remember I was helping somebody. I did their loan for them. They had like, and they had to send us all their assets, right, to verify everything, proof of reserves, all that good stuff. And somebody had like over $1 million in like cryptocurrency. And I was like, what? Like we actually like validate, like we actually like are accounting this for like real money? Like what? This guy has like Sui or like Shibu. Like what are we talking about? And they're like, and then I like remember calling the underwriter. I was like, is this real? Like, are we gonna like allow this? And then they're like, yeah, it's considered real money. And then I was like, okay, like at the time I'm like, okay, I'm doing this loan, nice, right? And rates were low. So it was like one of those things that stuck out, but it never really like pushed me down a rabbit hole, right? It was just like, whoa, that was kind of weird. But rates were low. I was like making more money than I was, the economy was good. I'm like, okay, let's keep it going, right? So still doing loans. And then in 2020, the market crashed like from COVID. And then I was like, man, like I know nothing about the market, but like I know this is a great opportunity. Um, this is just a great opportunity because all this that's going down, it's going to go back up. Like there is just that's just the way that things flow. And then I was like, I didn't know. I bought like a course, right, on stocks and stuff. Um, but rates were low. I was still doing loans. I was like, so I just kept going. I was like, oh, I'll get to it. And then Bitcoin at the time, I remember like looking at it, it was like around 9 or 11K, like March or April around that time. And I was like, oh, no, like it's all like, okay, cool, like whatever. And then like stimulus checks started coming out, and I was like, whoa, like this is not okay. Like we're just like like money's literally falling from the sky in people's pockets, and this is not okay. And so that was like a huge, and I know watching your journey on the Bitcoin broadcast and some of your past, I know you always share with it, like 2020 was definitely like a Bitcoin ad, right? Like it was just a huge ad for Bitcoin. And so, but it's still, rates were low. I was like pumping loans and I was like, nah, just never really. Then it was the next year in 2021 in October, Bitcoin like was like at 61K or something. And I was like, this was just at 9/11 like last year. And then I was like, okay, I need to like I dabbled it, put some money in it. Unfortunately, everybody's journey into Bitcoin is like has alts in front of them. Like everybody has to like see altcoins. It's like Bitcoin is like the in the back, and altcoins are like right here. You have to see past the smoke and the mirrors to like get to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, alts, like yeah, like everyone, you see YouTube, all these people are pumping, all these stories. And then a few months later, it was like January, and then like Bitcoin cut in half. It went to like 38. And then I was like, oh, like I got crushed by all. So I was like, and then I was like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? So I'm like, I don't want to do this, right? So I'm like, I just kind of like tinkered with it. Like I was just kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of fell out of the like to the back seat. And then all of a sudden, I was like, this guy Chris Johnson on Twitter. I recommend if you I don't know if you follow him or not. Chris Wells
Maybe.
Johnson. this guy's amazing. He like maybe at the end like with resources or something I'll probably recommend him. But he basically he sent out this tweet and it was like hey every it's a week it's like Monday night I'm gonna watch Hidden Secrets of Money and by Mike Maloney, episode 1, gonna go through all these within a week or two, but you probably won't watch it because you're probably too busy watching Monday because it's Monday Night Football tonight or something like that. It was just something like it like struck a chord with me and I was like whoa. I was like, I am gonna watch Monday Night Football, but this sounds really important. And so then I was like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna, watch it. And I was just glued to it. Like what we trade our time for, what are we trading our time for? These dollars that are devaluing, getting debased, like, the dollar is declining and like we're just going and we're chasing and we don't even know what like I didn't even know what money was, And so I was like, wow, like it was just very interesting going down that rabbit hole. And it's literally like he's like, we're taking you down the rabbit hole. And he just breaks down everything in that. It's like a 10-part series. Highly encourage it. But yeah, so that and then that's where he was like already talking about like something needs to change. And then Bitcoin came. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is life changing. Like you just like everything just seemed like a lie before. Like everything, the way we function, the way we go about it, all the financial instruments, the stock market, 401ks, IRAs. I was like, all of this is like we're all getting finessed. And it's crazy. Like we're all my mom, my dad, my uncle, my neighbor, like we're all getting finessed. And so it was just a really eye-opening. And then that's when it like led me more to Bitcoin. And it was really good because um everybody that all I always say that all bear markets create stronger Bitcoiners, Bitcoin maxis. And that was me in a way, with when I was playing the alt game and then I went into it helped me pivot into Bitcoin and then studying it. And then I started reading on this and I'm like, I never read. I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm like glued, to these books. I'm like, oh my gosh, and like I can't get enough. So I just been DCAing ever since, and so it's been great. It's been great. That's kind of like my little journey into Bitcoin. Sorry, I kind of
No, no,
spilled off.
no, that's awesome. No, it's true, man. I do think 2020 was the biggest ad for Bitcoin we've ever seen.
Mhm.
If you didn't find it then, I don't know what to tell you because
Yeah.
it was right in front of your face, man. All you had to do was pick up a book and learn about what the hell was going on,
Uh-huh.
and the solution was Bitcoin, and it was like, dude,
Yeah.
it was right there in front of you. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. I'm glad you found it. Glad glad you stuck with it through the bear market because that's like some of the hardest parts, man. When you're buying at like 60 and you ride it all the way down to 15K and you already told
Yeah.
your family, you told your wife, you told your like your friends about it, and then they're like, "Yeah, how's that Bitcoin thing doing?" And you're like, "Shit, man." You're like, I swear
Yeah.
it will go back up."
Yeah, but and you know what? And the only reason why like the conviction is there is because like it goes back to like reading, doing the work, doing the knowledge, studying Bitcoin and like you're just like, "Oh my gosh, like you don't understand this is actually a great opportunity." But from the outsiders looking in, at people that don't know what it is or or how it works, they're just like, "Oh, like all they see is a number, right? Number go up, number go down." And I'm like, oh man, it's like there's like this thing where I think it was like somebody saw like a coyote or something, right? Saw like the rabbit go down the hole, right? And then he tells all of his other buddies, he's like, dude, like you got like you the rabbit is there down the hole in the hole, like I saw it. So that everybody comes and they're like digging and they're like, there's no rabbit here, and they slowly like just peel back, right? Peel back, and you're the last one there because you saw that rabbit go or whatever the rabbit go down the hole, right? And it's just like that conviction of like and that's like doing the work, right? And everyone thinks you're crazy. And that's how like whenever I share Bitcoin they're like, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and it reminds me, Vince, it's kind of crazy. It reminds me when I was younger, my godmother, she's like my Nina. She would always take me and my cousins. We would always go to, the park, and they were like, we would feed the ducks. It was like one of those things that she was like, let's get out of the house. We're just gonna go feed ducks, right? You buy a loaf of bread, when bread was reasonable back then, and we would just like we would just throw pieces of bread, right? But it reminds me, fast forward to today, it reminds me about like when I share with Bitcoin, because when you feed ducks, right, you have to give them little tiny breadcrumbs, little pieces. If you throw the whole loaf at the duck, you just scare them, and you just like gave them like all this money or all this food, right? But you scare them; they're like so scared. So when you throw up on people about Bitcoin, they're just like immediately turned off. Reminds me of those ducks. But so now, whenever I introduce Bitcoin to people, I always just drop breadcrumbs in our conversation, and then I'll see if they're picking up what I'm talking about. Because whenever you just kind of like throw up on them, it's just too much for people. It's too much. Like they're just like they've been used to this system their whole life of the dollar, cash is king, and all this stuff and debt and credit. And then now you come in here and be like, no, dude, like that's not the way it works, like you're getting finessed.
Yeah, yeah. Have you noticed, because you're around my age, I turned 35 in like 2 weeks. But
Nice.
so you being 37, I was like, have you noticed a big difference with talking to, like your parents, like an older generation versus like younger generation or your friends about Bitcoin? Did you notice a difference on like who's more receptive or like
Yeah.
more,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I do think it's the younger crowd that's a little bit more receptive, because I think they're realizing like um they're like working 30 hours, I mean 40 plus hours for 30 plus years is not the goal. Like I don't know how we agreed to that, and like kudos to our parents for like, they just like pushed through and hustled, and luckily the dollar was worth more back then. It was a little bit more one to one, and they got a lot more bang for their buck. Things were cheaper. But working that long is like it just seems like insanity to me. Like what? And we're working for a dollar that's losing value, right? It's like what? Like we're just and inflation is skyrocketing. It's gonna keep going. Trump's looking like he wants to pass out, $1,000, $2,000 rebate tariff rebates, right? And so that just sounds like COVID all over again to me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And everything that's going on now, it's all like it stems from COVID 2020, right? We printed so much money during that time frame. The national debt ceiling, I think I even wrote it down here for us just to get some concrete numbers. Like at the end of the fiscal year in 2020 it was like 26.9. Right now we're at 37 trillion, kissing 38. Like what? That's insane. That's insane. And there's no like, and then insert Elon, right? And he like is doing his best, and kudos to Elon for like, putting the world on his back, and he's like trying to cut out all of and then that just gets wiped out immediately, all that hard work, right? And so it's just unfortunate where we're at. But it's also, I think, a huge blessing, being able to like have Bitcoin right now. It's still young, it's a teenager. And so I think we keep forgetting that because we're like we kiss 126, 125, 126. But Bitcoin is like, Bitcoin's what, 16 years old? Like that's nothing. It's gonna have these fits, it's gonna have this up and downs, it's this volatility. It's sound money that's still, it's growing, right? And so yeah, so everybody in Bitcoin is in profit unless you bought it yesterday.
yeah, no kidding. I think I saw something that the like 50% of people that bought this year have been the average is like actually around like 110 or 112 or something. So
Uh-huh.
that's kind of like break even for a lot of people that have been buying this year, which is kind of wild that like the average is like in the 100Ks. And
Yeah.
not that's not including long-term holders. If you've bought beforehand, obviously, like I
Uh-huh.
still DCA, but so my cost basis goes up a little bit, but nothing like that. That's wild to me. And then like this flash crash, dude, everyone's panicking. Twitter just like lit up.
Yeah.
I was at dinner, and my wife and my phone like buzzes, and it was like Bitcoin's below 110. I was like, what? I was like, what? No, we were just at like 118 or
What?
117. Like what? And then all of a sudden I open my phone and there's not good service in this restaurant, and I open it up and the first price I see on Robinhood is freaking 104,000, and I thought my phone was glitching, dude. I was
Like
like, "There's
what?
no fucking way, no way." And
What
so
is going on?
yeah, and my poor wife, she's like ordering drinks for herself, and I have like a menu sitting on me, and I'm just have my phone, and I was like, "Babe, are we buying Bitcoin?" She was like, "Yeah, what is it?" And I was like, "It's like 104,000 right now." She's like, "Yeah, fine, buy some." And so I got it in. I got the buy in at like 107, and then I automatically scroll over to Twitter, and dude, it's just blowing up. People are freaking out. Bitcoin's dead, and that was fun times. I'm
We'll definitely like look back at it and we'll be like, dude, like we were so blessed to have that, you know, like we were so like you just have to if you have that, the long term, right? And you have that slow time preference, you're just like, dude, we're gonna totally look back and be like, dude, like that was amazing. Like we're like, because we won't. I don't think in the future we won't get those. We won't get these big pullbacks like that. Like there's no way it'll just like if someone mentions tariff, right? Or if someone mentions war and it's just gonna be like, boom, like nah, it won't be like that. It'll just hold. It'll just be like where it's supposed to be. It'll be sound, everybody will know, and people will be holding and not selling their Bitcoin for sure.
I think so too. But you brought up tariffs a few times. What are your thoughts on not Trump specifically, unless you want to talk about Trump, you can, because I'm kind of indifferent with politics. I lean more to the right more than I do to the left.
Hmm.
But Trump wise, what are your thoughts on these tariffs, dude? Do you think I'll, I'll tell you personally, I do not see an effect of tariffs
Hmm.
on a day-to-day basis in my personal life. I really don't see anything happening with it. I do notice uh I'm getting squeezed. I would consider me and my wife middle class, and we go to the grocery store, dude, and every time you get like 3 4 things, it's like 20 30 bucks, and you're just like, fuck, dude, does everything cost $10 now? Like
Yeah,
everything. It's
I
insane.
know. I
And
agree. I
so
agree.
I know tariffs are kind of playing into that because companies anticipate tariffs. But
Hmm.
what are your thoughts about Trump and this whole tariff situation?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to Trump, I'm the same as you. I do lean a little bit more towards the right. I don't get like heavy, like, oh man, he's Jesus or he's God,
And you
right?
live in California.
Yeah, and I live in California. Yeah, man, like Newscom. But that we won't. We'll stick to the Bitcoin broadcast. But no, with him, when it comes to the tariffs, so I'm not a tariff expert. I don't think I know that tariffs used to work, and this is what I learned through Bitcoin. It's crazy what you'll learn through Bitcoin. We used to have tariffs back then. We were the most prosperous country back then when we had tariffs. And I read that this year. I actually read the Art of the Deal by Trump, and he talks about all this, like what he's doing now. It's really really crazy. Like this is all what he talked about before, and like how we can be a prosperous country. And so and then he became president. He happened to become president, right? And so when it comes to tariffs, I think that I feel like when you study Bitcoin, we were already leaning towards these expensive prices already. Like it was happened before we even got on. Like everything was just already increasing, and now like him talking about tariffs and doing all these tariffs, I haven't seen anything that's like out of the ordinary. It's not like I think everything is just still like what it was, but like what it's been leading to. Nothing has like yeah, groceries have been going up, right? And so, I always like to compare tariffs to like our eggs, right? When eggs were like so expensive, and like that seemed like oh man, if this is what tariffs do, like eggs are crazy. Like what's gonna happen to everything else, right? But eggs went down. Right, eggs are normal again now, and so like I don't see like man like tariffs like impacting our everyday lives. Like nothing like really sticks out, but everything is slowly going up, whether it's I'm an insurance agent, so I work with farmers, and then So everything is going up, to insurance, to to our clothes, car parts, new tires, phones, everything. Oh, by the way, check out my new iPhone 17 right here. Thanks, Vince. Got the cover. I was so close. I'm like, oh man, the orange. It just got to me. Apple knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
Apple knew what they were doing with that Bitcoin, with that orange color. But no, decided to stack more sats. Got the cover, and so we're good. But yeah, no real impact when it comes to tariffs. I don't really see like things just jumping like to what people make it seem like it's gonna jump to because of tariffs. I think inflation has been doing its thing and taking its course. Um, Correlate parallel to what happened from 2020. Everything is gonna just slowly grow, go
I
up.
agree. Yeah, I do think a lot of the damage was done in 2020, 2021 when Trump printed, his Trump bucks, they called it, and then Biden came in, printed all the COVID stimulus, and we were just like, man, like every Bitcoiner knew this is going to get expensive. Um, and now Trump, like you said, when we first started, you're like, he's talking about sending out another stimulus with these
Yeah.
tariff profits, and I'm like, dude, what do you think's gonna happen? I mean, come on. It's like, so if you if we get another stimulus, shit's only gonna go up.
More.
Um,
It's easy math. It's the math is mathing. Like it's easy math. Like the more they print, the more they hand out this money, the more that things are going to get expensive, and like people relying and this kind of pivots into like universal basic income, right? Where people relying on the government and people, it's like one of those things where like like we'll help you. Don't worry about it. Like we'll bail you out. We know things are expensive right now. Here's a couple grand. Here's this. But that is not where we need to be going. We need to be pivoting in the other direction to sound money, right? To being debt free. To like just stop getting finessed by all of this like liabilities, right? Everyone is like this book right now, Modern Chains, it talks about this, right? Assets and liabilities. With liabilities, we're all like, we're not in the not there's not like in slavery back then with the shackles. Like fast forward, the modern chains are like it's ink, it's a contract, it's debt. It's like the invisible chains now, and so more people own liabilities than they do assets, and so we're just like working like on this wheel, and we're going to work trading our most precious commodity, our time, for what? A declining dollar, right? Like what are we do like we're working back, we're hustling backwards, we're getting finessed. And so we just need to do the work. We need to do the knowledge. We need to study Bitcoin. What, your family, and so taking care of your family, putting values. Bitcoin is freedom, Bitcoin is hope. Bitcoin, just look around. Like, does everything look like the system's working, Vince?
no, man, no, no, we know it's not.
Yeah.
And then you brought up the debt ceiling. So you said, we're at like 37 trillion. Have you thought about how the government could even remotely come close to reversing that? How do they go forward? How do you protect yourself as someone in their 20s and 30s? Explain to me as if I'm like a newbie and you're like, you know, the debt's going up, but okay, that's not my debt, right? That's you know, explain to me like I'm a young gun who's like, dude, what is this inflation? What is this debt ceiling?
Yeah, inflation is basically and inflation is theft, right? And so, and well, going back to your debt ceiling question, sorry, real quick. So the debt ceiling is going to keep going up. It's basically we're spending money for these programs, we're spending money for wars, we're spending money for stimulus checks, we're spending money for everything, right? And so if we're just going to keep spending money, then why do we have to pay taxes? Why don't you just print your money, right? Why don't you just print your tax money? Like you don't need my money, like you're just printing, right? And so the debt ceiling is just something that's not going to go away. Like inflation is an increase in prices driven by the increase in the supply of money. And so if the money supply keeps increasing, all of our goods and services are going to keep increasing when it comes to the debt ceiling. I got a quote here. I got a quote here with inflation as well. Right here. I wanted to read to you. So true evil emerges. I even posted this on X the other day too. True evil emerges when inflation is deliberately engineered. Artificial expansion of the money supply, consciously guided by human hands. So artificially expanded, that's the printer, the money supply consciously guided by human hands. That's the Federal Reserve, right? And then such debasement silently harvests the purchasing power of every existing dollar. So, in another words, to like kind of sum it all up too, is that the dollar is going to be worth nothing when it comes to if we just keep printing more and more of it. It's just the purchase power is eroding, and if you have no, most people don't know this, but they want more purchase power. That's what they really want, and not like more dollars. They want more purchasing power, right? And Bitcoin does that. Bitcoin, being able to Bitcoin brings you savings account. Bitcoin brings you hope. Bitcoin brings you freedom. Bitcoin makes everything cheaper. Also wrote down here, it also brings back values. And you're like, what are you talking about? Bitcoin brings
Yeah,
back
yeah.
values because you can focus on things that are more important when you're not chasing the dollar. When you're not like you're not immersed in like everyday life. Gotta, bills, investing, when it comes to, no, actually investing is good, but when it comes to like, focusing on your kids, focusing on your marriage, focusing on your wife, all of these things are really good, and that you can focus on instead of like, you're like, oh man, like Monday's here. Like there's like on Sunday around 2 o'clock, I know there's like this dark cloud, like, oh man, like I gotta go to work tomorrow, And so, I think it helps you focus on things that you like to do, whether that's surfing, whether that's, you know, weaving or, making clothes or, making podcasts. I think like it just takes you away from doing things that you really want to focus on. And that's pretty much like what I would share with you on that.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I felt such a shift in my own personal life, adopting Bitcoin, and basically, I wouldn't say I live fully on a Bitcoin standard.
Mhm.
We still pay all our bills in cash and whatnot, but it was kind of funny. My wife we were looking on Amazon today, and she was like, "Man," she ordered some cleaning supplies, and they were like, "It got canceled." And we were like, that's weird. Amazon like never cancels orders. And
Yeah.
so then she looked at her credit card and she was like, oh, like the minimum payments due or whatever, like the $35 of bullshit that you just have
Yeah.
to pay. We don't use credit cards like hardly ever. So
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I have $35 that I have to pay and then it will come back. And she's like, how could Amazon do that? And
Mhm.
this was literally like, maybe 30, 40 minutes ago, before we started this podcast. And I told her, I was like, they're probably scared that people are getting delinquent on their credit cards
Yeah.
because the credit card debt in the United States has never been higher. I think we're over $1 trillion in credit card debt. That means people are living off of credit cards.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
living day to day off of debt. And that's a
It's
terrible situation to be in. And it's a terrible situation that they've put us in because
mm-hmm.
we didn't put ourselves there. If you're
Yeah.
a hardworking American, you didn't ask to be, for the prices to go up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
devastating. But anyway, so what would you say, going back to like the basics of Bitcoin, what would you say is like the biggest misconception that you see these days about Bitcoin?
The biggest misconception is like when I don't really watch TV, but when it comes on like on X, it'll inform us with these little small clips, which I like. But people will just bash Bitcoin, or they'll say like it's like it's for gangs, right? Or it's for crime, or it's for like the dark market, or it's for like, and it's just like that's also the dollar. The dollar does all of those things as well. So it's no, and actually Bitcoin's a little bit more safer. You can track things, right? And it's peer to peer, right? And so like I think the misconception is like people need to understand like whenever you do business with someone, right? You want Bitcoin brings back that peer to peer. And when it's peer to peer, it's like between me and Vince. Like if I want to buy strawberries from Vince at the farmer's market on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock, nobody should know that I bought like strawberries, right? Nobody needs to know that I bought strawberries from Vince, right? Like, no, it's like it's peer to peer. It should be between me and him, right? But we forget when you study Bitcoin, every transaction you do when you go to the grocery store, there's five people that are involved in that transaction. It's you, your bank, them, whoever it is, Walmart or whoever, and their bank, and then the merchant. There's like also like Visa, right? Or MasterCard or Venmo, right? Or all of these other like third parties. And so that's why it's so important that private going back to privacy too, like privacy is very important, like peer to peer. If I want to send money across the world, like nobody has to know. Like I could send it to a family member, nobody needs to know. That's between me and my family member, right? And so it's just very like I think the misconception with Bitcoin is like all the negative talk on it from people that never even studied it. Like how could you comment on something you never studied? And so they just see number go up, number go down, and it's just so much more. And it's just, it's just unfortunate that more people are not doing the work. And in a way, it's kind of good that you have to do the work. Like that's what's great about Bitcoin. You have to study, you have to read. Whether it's podcasts or like listening to audios, like you got to read and it's just like it's so important because your life depends on it, right? And it's just very unfortunate that more people don't understand what they go to work for, right? Every single day. They're like, money's not important, money's not everything, but you leave your family every day for 40 plus hours to go chase this dollar, right? And so you just gotta really like reset. It's like an ego test, an IQ test too. You just really gotta check yourself and be like, wow, like what? Like, this is real? Is this
Yeah.
real, Vince?
I know. No, it's no, education is huge. Um I've said this before too. Most of my friends, I have like a very small percentage of my friends that actually own Bitcoin, but they also are big into shit coins still.
Yeah.
Like you said at the very beginning, dude, shit coins are just in your face. And I swear that's just because someone's out there is like, hey, dude, Bitcoin's 100,000, like Ethereum's gonna go to 100,000. It's like whatever. But um but yeah, with my friends, and they'll comment on Bitcoin, and I'm like, man, you guys haven't even done any work. You haven't read anything. You tell me I got lucky just by buying Bitcoin. I found Bitcoin in 2017 and I got lucky. And what do you say to those people, man? When someone tells you you got lucky in Bitcoin, you found it 3 years ago. You
Yeah.
haven't even really gone through a full 4 year
Yeah.
cycle
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
and you're already light years ahead of most of the people in the United States. What do you say to someone who says like, dude, you got lucky?
I'm like, I am super early and I'm not, and you're super early. And like, I would even like, I'm not lucky at all. I just did the work, right? And like, you can do the work because I honestly think that Bitcoin is so undervalued. Like a couple years down the road from now, you're thinking I got into Bitcoin at 2017 and I got lucky. Well, like, who knows where Bitcoin's going to go in the next 5 years, in 10 years? You're going to be wishing for these prices. Like, we're actually so early. Like for us Bitcoiners that have been in it for years, right? I've been in it for 3, and I'm like, dang, this is so undervalued. Like it's still like Bitcoin hitting an all-time high at 125, 126K is like it's so undervalued still. And I'm like, I'm buying at the tops, I'm buying at the lows, like there's no stopping. I'm DCAing all the way. And it's just like I feel like going back to like what you were talking about with your friends, right? I saw one of your podcasts. It was so funny, Vince, and they were like, "Hey, Vince, how much AVAX do you have?"
Dude, shit. It happens to me all the time, man.
Dude, I'm like, oh my God, when you talked about that guy, I was like, dude, that's so funny. Hey, how much AVAX do you have?
No, I hate
It's
that.
crazy.
It's
That's so
ridiculous.
crazy. It's so like oh my God, they don't even understand what they're sharing or what's coming out of their mouth. It's just like like you're just like it's like saying how many dollars you have. Like
I know.
what
I
in
really hate the question, how much Bitcoin do you have? Because it's rude to ask it's rude. I talk about money
Yes.
all the time. I've always been like that. Ever since I was a kid, I always talked about money openly, like how much money do you have, things like that. So it never bugged me. But when people ask how much Bitcoin you have, it took me a while to understand not to answer that question because I used to brag about it. Oh
Yeah.
man, I hit X amount of Bitcoin, like I used to post
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And then it took me a minute to be like, holy shit, back up. Because
Mhm.
this is actually leading into what I wanted to ask you next, which is like your self sovereignty.
Mhm.
And you kind of already talked about privacy a little bit, but yeah, but talking about like your self sovereignty, your privacy, and how important that is moving forward.
Yeah, it's everything. It's everything. And because like, my for me, like my values, are my faith, my family, financial freedom, and then fitness. Like that's the order for me. And that's what, like, those F's are everything for me. And it's because like you can't have financial independence, right? Without yeah, you have to have financial independence before you can have freedom, right? Fitness is very important. My faith is very important. My family is very important. So being able to like live life through my values is everything to me. Like that's all I need. And Bitcoin helps with that free, helps create that, and so it allows me to focus on things that matter. All those things really matter to me, just pouring in on my faith and and just pouring into my family and my children. I have 3 kids, 5, 3, and 7 months, about to be 8 months. And it's just I don't like going to work. I'm super grateful for my jobs, all my jobs I've ever worked. I'm not again, I'm not talking bad about jobs at all, but when you learn freedom, you're like we're kind of handcuffed, right? We're handcuffed on like, leaving our spouse every day, leaving our kids every day to go, and we spend days with strangers, I work with my father-in-law, with him. So it's like a little, like, his business and stuff, like family business or whatever you want to call. But I'm fortunate to work with him, right? But when I was working in corporate America doing loans and stuff, you work with these strangers and I built amazing relationships. But like, I'd rather spend my, best years, days, months with my family, right? Pouring into them. And so, that's everything. Being able to go wherever I want, do whatever I want, see the world. We live in a beautiful place, even though it's like it gets shadowed by everything on the news. We live in a beautiful place. I'm super grateful living in Orange County. Like like I'm like, man, like I just have to pinch myself. I'm like it's beautiful here. I live like down the street from Newport Beach, and all my family's close. So that self sovereignty is everything. It's everything. Being able to like go take on trips instead of vacations. Vacations are like I'm just vacating. People forget like I'm vacating my life. Like, right? I'm gonna, no, I want to take trips. I want to go and do things. And so Bitcoin does all that. I even Bitcoin, it's just self-sovereignty is everything, right? You're like, what else matters? Like, like getting deals, right? Or like, what? What are we talking about? Trading my time for dollars? No, like what matters, And then you're allowed to focus on that, whatever that is for you too. Could be fishing, could be, your children, could be your spouse, could be growing, your food, I know that's a big thing, owning your land and living in the middle of nowhere, like being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want is everything. It's everything.
Yeah. I mean, the, time is your most scarce asset, as you said towards the beginning of this. It's time. And then the next thing is pretty much Bitcoin. Bitcoin buys your time back, going to
Hmm.
work every day and then earning a paycheck, and then the government prints, 40% of it in a couple months, and you're like, "Fuck, dude!" Like
Yeah.
that's theft, it's robbery, and it pisses you off. And I think once you realize that, that's what opens your eyes. Is you're like, I want my time back, I want my freedom back.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you envision? Let's say hyper Bitcoinization happens. How do you envision your family, the world, your community? How do you think a hyper Bitcoinization world improves everyone's life?
I think everything, everybody gets more time back, right? That's the root of everything. Everyone gets more time back. Everybody's savings is actually a savings. and every people can focus on things that matter. I think the world is returning to sound money. And I also, whether they like it or not, the world has always returned to sound money, and it's always been the gold standard before, right? With all the fiat, people don't even know there's been so much fiat currencies in the like forever, forever, the coins to fiat when you study Bitcoin, and then it all goes back to the gold standard, right? Well, if you look at our life right now, right, everything has evolved. Computers, our phones, our cars, everything has evolved. Airplanes, everything has evolved except our money. Our money is the only thing lagging, and it's gonna return to sound money, which is like always been the gold standard, but I believe moving forward it's going to be the Bitcoin standard. Lawrence Leopard, said it perfectly. There's going to be a time where it was before Bitcoin and after Bitcoin, and I think that's going to be so true. And it's that's where we're going. And yeah, so that's kind of how I see with I do think it's like some years away. Like I think it's down the road. I don't think that people are going to be a lot of the people in Congress right now, I'm not into, no, I'm not deep into politics, but I know the basics and just surface level. And a lot of them are old. They're old. They're like, they're holding on to their jobs. They're like falling at podiums. They're just like, it's crazy. And so like they need to like, so we're still like in a way chained to this old mindset. And so, I know a lot of the administration now is pro Bitcoin, and and Besson, and everybody to Vance, they all own it. And so I think that's really good, but I don't think it's like what people make it out to be. Like, oh my gosh, like now this is gonna be the movement. Like this is no, I mean, I think the people who hold, the masters who hold all these puppets, they're still on that field. They're not gonna give away their power like that easy. Like there's no way. Like there's just no way. So I do think we are some time away, but like prepare, DCA, buy some whenever you can. Prepare yourself, take care of your family, live your life, buy Bitcoin, not financial advice, buy Bitcoin and chill. Just chill, put it in cold storage and go live your life. Go to the park, I'm gonna take my kids, hang out all day today. I'm gonna smash by some. I'm gonna go hit the gym, hit the weights, and then I'm gonna hang out with my family, and that's like, and then I'm gonna relax. I want to probably tweet you like some stuff, and so it's, I really appreciate, again, you having me on this. This is great. I love talking about Bitcoin.
Awesome, man. Well, before we call it a day, I got to ask you, I don't get to ask this much because, first of all, I've only been doing this for a short amount of time, but bear markets do happen. Bitcoin goes down and it gets lonely. Um, so I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on the price action recently? What are your thoughts on the Bitcoin cycle this cycle? Do you think we continue on or not?
Hmm.
And if you have any type of predictions, any outlandish things, any bear case scenarios that you got to give me?
Yeah, so I've been watching. I kind of know where you kind of stand on this. Been watching your kind of your podcast leading up to this. I do believe we're gonna shoot. I think we're just gonna shoot super high. I think honestly within the next year, like within the next year, I could easily, and I honestly think it could be any day. Like in my opinion, I think we can go to like 250. I think it's that reasonable. And I do think if we go to two, and I do think that we will, there will be another massive bear market. There has to be, and I actually, it's healthy. It's really good because we forget that, like, because people who are gonna, let's just say it jumps up to 250, let's say it jumps up to 200, people are gonna sell, Vince. People are going to sell. As there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there, but there's not enough that they will not sell. And again, there's other pieces in place now, right? There's people in the stocks, ETFs, all this stuff. People are gonna sell. I think it's gonna be. I just think people will be people, and they will sell. They'll have money. They'll buy stuff. And even if some people, I even think they won't even want to sell, but they will, just due to inflation, right? Due to the economy. And so I do think there will be another bear market, and then as far as like the cycles, I saw one of your other podcasts. I forgot his name. He had a really valid point. He's like yeah, these 4 year cycles. It's like, dude, but that's like not that's like no data really. Like data is like over time, right? And so like that's such a short amount of data to be like, yeah, every 4 years, right? Or we're gonna do this, Bitcoin's gonna be XYZ and be predictable. That's what's great about Bitcoin is that we have no idea what's gonna happen next. You can be at dinner and then you check your phone, you're like, is this a glitch? Like what? Like, I think like there will be a massive bear market, and I think it just brings more people to it. And these bear markets, remind you, like it's gonna be like 100,000, like would be like like will be like at a bear market, like back at 100,000, and then we're gonna be like, dude, a bear market's Bitcoin's at 100,000, like what? That's gonna like I don't know, like I don't and for me, I'm just accumulating. Like I want as much Bitcoin, so I'll always take cheap Bitcoin. Like I think like I came to this game a little bit later than most people. I mean like as far as talking to Bitcoiners, like who started earlier. No, I'm not late. I'm saying like talking to Bitcoiners who started earlier, right? Who saw the vision. I'm like, and who did the work. I'm like, dude, man, you guys are on it. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are like so like far ahead, right? And like being able to see it and study. And so I do think there'll be a massive boomer. I do think we jump up like super high. We wake up one day. I would love to wake up one day. I think that's what it'd be. I think that would be like one of the coolest things to like wake up one day and or just doing something randomly, like check your phone and just like it's like mooned, right? And so I'm like, it's unpredictable, and that's why I love Bitcoin too. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. People like look at these charts and like, it's going down, it's going up, we're going up. I'm like, I think it's gonna go up, and then I also think that there will be a massive bear market, but it'll bring more Bitcoiners to make everything more concrete, more solid, more ready to make that move to the future, right? And it's gonna slowly bring more people along. Bear markets, we need them. I don't like them, but we need them.
Yeah. No, I do you know what I really like? I don't think I've said this before. What I really like about the huge spikes up when we get them is it tells you where Bitcoin will go eventually. So every time Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, you know anything below that is a discount.
Yeah.
And so everyone says yes, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. And I firmly believe that as well. But once we hit that 200, that 250 mark, we've already hit that, dude. That's the new all time high. So everything below that is discount Bitcoin now.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the time to stack is when no one else is buying. And that's when, if you can stack the hardest when people are telling you it's dead, that's when you'll kill it.
Yeah.
That's when you're born, man. That's the
Yeah.
men. That's the men of the group. You are not a boy anymore. If you can stack relentlessly in a bear market when everyone's telling you it's dead.
Oh my God. And I'm like, that's all I like. I look forward to it. I'm like, dude, I'll take any dip. I'm here for it, man. Like I don't like, I just think like it's so undervalued, but it's still like getting out of reach for most people, right? Of one Bitcoin. And so, you gotta get there. You gotta stack. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put your head down. You gotta send the blitz, and you gotta go get it. You gotta go get that one Bitcoin.
Well said, man. Awesome. I'm going to end it there. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Luna, MoonMan on X, give him a follow. I appreciate you coming on, dude. This was a blast. Do you want to send people to your X? I don't know your exact handle. What's your exact handle?
My exact handle is, I'll tell you right now. So it is at Moon 15 mission. The mission is to the moon, and honestly, if you understand Bitcoin, the moon is just a pit stop. Like we're gonna go way past the moon. And yeah, so that's my X. I'm never really on Instagram. I don't know what it is. I just feel like it's so saturated. It's so like, I don't know. I just never on it. X is like the most like, I don't know. I feel like raw, right? When it comes to like, and you can actually learn on X. You can't learn on Instagram. Like you're learning on X. You're getting stuff. You're getting references, books. And speaking about like recommendation references, I do before we get out here, Vince. This book might be the best Bitcoin book so far. Like I don't know, but Modern Chains, it is so good. I highly recommend this one. The big print's awesome. It's crazy. It's like basically we're living in the big print. It's coming any day. It's soon this year, next year. It does like it's just coming. Um, and the hidden secrets of money. I think that is like so important for people to, even if you don't even want Bitcoin. Like I think like that is just something that you just need to understand where everything comes from, stems from, we us going to work, families, our time, our values. Like there's a reason why we never learn about money, like it's because like they're just distracting us from what's important, and this just brings you, it just realigns you on like what you need to do and where you need to go.
Absolutely. Awesome, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Bitcoin broadcast. I appreciate you. Please like and follow, subscribe if you have not, and we will catch you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Luna.
Thanks, Vince. Appreciate it.